Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition, stripped of our names, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion? Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die.
Welcome back to another episode of the LANCESCURV Show. I'm glad to see everybody here. It's a wonderful, wonderful day. The weather here in Accra, Ghana is just so beautiful. And we had a wonderful time yesterday at Labadi Beach with Brother I Just Stars the Mindset. We put up a few short clips. And for the time that he's here, we have so much more coming. So I will be outside shooting with him all across Accra. Today, he went to the Cape Coast dungeons, which many call castles, but it wasn't castles for us. And I look forward to seeing him again. He's got a busy schedule because just like he said, he came here to work, to share everything with his followers and those who vibe with us because we are one big extended family. We had some very comical and eye-opening shows last week as we got down in on Christianity in the different forms. And we're going to have a lot more shows like that. We're going to have one at least this week, and maybe I'll make it a regular thing. But we have to find the proper angles from which to attack those stories on. We just don't want to get on and babble and just open our mouth and say anything, because that's not what this channel is all about. There's so many channels out here that they just want to roll around in the dirt and get nowhere on a mental level and never to ascend to a higher state of consciousness. We throw these words around, but many times we don't mean it. Anyway, I wanted to speak today about social media being the modern day counterintelligence program. I want to share a few experiences of my own, and I want to share those that can maybe open your eyes as to how much this modern day counterintelligence program can mean to you in your personal life, because we're wide open and we give so much of our information away that we think that we're safe and we think that we have privacy, but we do not have privacy. We never had privacy. They just have more of an excuse because of the Patriot Act after 9/11 to go into our emails, to track us. And it's no, how can I put it? It's just no coincidence that when social media began to bang harder and resonate with our children, and eventually we got into it as older adults, that we had the cell phone become the smartphone. Anything that they say is smart, trust me, there's a way for it to monitor your use, monitor you. You let these things inside your home, these devices inside your home. You can ask it a question, it tells you something back. You ask it certain questions, it can't answer it. It's all government controlled to surveil you. See, we're all important in this whole war to keep our freedom. And if you ask me, we're losing. We're losing badly. And those of us who open up our mouths to speak against it and what's happening to us privately, we're looked at as nutcases, as people who are mentally unstable. But this thing is very much real. I've had many people come on the show and they speak about themselves being targeted individuals. As you well know, Sister Ambience and several others who have come on the show who are here as part of the bigger family, they are. And these individuals, including our sister, they're not crazy. They're just very much aware and spiritually enlightened enough to see what is going on a spiritual level and on a physical level. Because these people who are in control behind the scenes in the government, They know a time is coming and they want to control us. Is this paranoid talk? Many who used to think I was nuts years ago, they're getting hip to what's going on. And no, I don't have all the answers, but the part that touches me, I can share it with you because I've been known not to hold my tongue when it comes to speaking out on what I see as my truth, which may be the truth of other people until they come into the realization of it. And when you speak fearlessly and you speak bold without restraint, trust me, folks are watching you. And if you're connected to me in any kind of way or anybody else who bucks the system and wants to bring a little enlightenment to those who are out there, they're going to watch you too. If you notice, you have on Facebook this thing where they can tell, or you can tell, where your friends are physically. Your friend LANCESCURV is 10 miles away at the Walmart. Your friend so-and-so is around the corner, 2 blocks away. And this is how they operate. If they give this technology to you and allow you to use it for your fun to distract you, and in essence, give up everything private about your life, what do you think they have? This smartphone technology has been around for decades. They allow you to have it so they can monitor you. They allow you to have it so you can play around with it and talk and tell your business, and they're getting it. You're making it easy for them to surveil you. Therefore, I say there is no privacy. I already knew from a long time ago, I don't have any privacy, but guess what? I don't care. And they know I don't care. I speak freely on my private phone and communication, and publicly I speak a certain way. I'm a little more isolated right now than I've been before, but out here in Accra, Ghana, many have been sent to get information from me, and that's not paranoid talk because you'll understand what I have gone through after this particular show. Let me read a little bit so you can understand about the counterintelligence program. The counterintelligence program was a series of covert and illegal projects actively conducted by the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting, and disrupting domestic American political organizations. FBI records show counterintelligence program resources targeted groups and individuals the FBI deemed subversive, including feminist organizations, the Communist Party USA, anti-Vietnam War organizers, activists of the civil rights and Black Power movements, example, Martin Luther King, Nation of Islam, Black Panther Party, environmentalists, and animal rights organizations, the American Indian Movement, Chicano and Mexican American groups like the Brown Berets and the United Farm Workers, independence movements, including Puerto Rican independence groups such as Young Lords and the Puerto Rican Socialist Party, a variety of organizations that were part of the broader New Left, and white supremacist groups such as the Ku Klux Klan and far-right group national states' rights parties, okay? So they not only went after Black groups, they went after all different types of groups, but I feel personally that they came down harder on the Black groups, because if they were going after the Ku Klux Klan, and the Ku Klux Klan is still alive and well today, believe it or not, you know, why haven't they broken them down? But these other groups, and you can see that this is signed off by the government, and it was illegal for them to do what they do. And if you ask me, it never stopped. And when you have people who have the mindset of the people who ran this thing, you got to understand that even though they may say it's illegal, the government will sign off on it. And you think the government is going to sit here and say, well, you know what? We don't want the information that you went out there and got. We all know that grandmother in the neighborhood who was up early every Sunday morning and was at church, went to Bible study, went to the first service, hung around and went and ate with the congregation and came back for the evening service. But Monday night, when she was home and realized that she was broke, she always had that drug dealing nephew or grandson who would come around and hit the Christian mama off. You think she's going to refuse the money that he's bringing to her, even though it's blood money? No. So the U.S. government can say all they want about, oh, no, this is illegal, we wash our hands of it, but they're damn sure going to use the information that they got, just like that grandmother who's waiting to get that drug money to ball it up and put it up under her left titty so she can keep it safe before she goes to the supermarket in the morning time. This is how they work. What they tell you is not always what it is. You understand? So let me see if I should read any more of this. Let me scroll down to this because they go through a lot here. And I just want people to be on the same page to understand what it is, because I don't want to come with false information. And I am not Brother Malik Aziz, who can just spout this stuff off the top of his head because he's well versed and well studied and understands the history because he's part of the history. And I don't want to be one of those YouTubers or speaking something that I don't know. So I'm just going to read this off. Let me read another little bit, okay? Beginning in 1969, leaders of the Black Panther Party were targeted by the counterintelligence program and neutralized by being assassinated, imprisoned, publicly humiliated, or falsely charged with crimes. Some of the Black Panthers targeted included Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, Zaid Shakur, Geronimo Pratt, Mumia Abu Jamal, and Marshall Conway. Common tactics used by the counterintelligence program were perjury, witness harassment, witness intimidation, and withholding of evidence. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover issued directives governing the counterintelligence program, ordering FBI agents to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of these movements, and especially their leaders. Under Hoover, the agent in charge of the counterintelligence program was William Sullivan. Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy personally authorized some of the programs, given written approval for limited wiretapping of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s phones on a trial basis for a month or so. Hoover extended the clearance so his men were unshackled to look for evidence in any areas of King's life they deemed unworthy. So, when you have people who are social media influencers, and that's a kind of scary word when you look at it. Influencers, influence to do what? That very word tells you there's something devious about it. Influencers. And maybe not. But we have so many talking heads on social media now that have no history or have no credibility. They just pop up out of nowhere. And you look at out of nowhere, their followings grow out of nowhere. Hundreds of thousands, millions. And you're like, wait a second. You know, I'm going to say it. I'm sorry. We have many YouTubers out here, and one in particular that comes to mind that has a great amount of respect these days in their reporting of news and the reporting of what's happening in Africa and the world wide over. And they do a very, very good job. But I remember this individual back before 2012, where their whole talk about Black people was derogatory. I mean, the aim was Black women. See, back in that day, there was another individual whose name that I won't call, not that I'm afraid, and I wonder why everybody decides to call me when a show comes on. So this is what I'm going to do. For everybody who has that urge to hear their ring on the show, it'll go straight to voicemail because I just cut this phone off. Anyway, this individual was following behind another one because the other guy had great responses and stirred up a lot of controversy, had a lot of hits on his videos, and evidently, you know, probably made a lot of money doing this. He kind of fell off now. He's still there. But the other guy followed behind him. And most of his videos were about Black women. And I'm not trying to insult any of my sisters, but I'm going to quote some of the things that he said. He used to call Black women hairy-hatted hoes, decadent breeders, bitchs, and bed wenches. And this is the kind of language all throughout the video. It wasn't where he said this one time, but he would get clips of people who may have been operating on a low vibrational level. Say, for example, there were a couple schoolgirls in the hood, in a McDonald's, who got into a fight. And he would say, look at the behavior of these hairy-hatted hoes. I bet you half of them don't even get to finish high school. This is the bad thing in our community. This should be stopped. They should all be, they all should have been aborted. And I'm like, whoa. And I can't stress this enough because I observed this. And whenever I would do a video speaking on a slice of our community, I never did it that way. I would speak on how we needed to have fathers, we needed to have parents that were concerned and did the proper raising and the different things that were degraded in our community, but never that. And I have all my videos up. Hairy-hatted hoes and breeders and bitchs, and they're no good. People like that would never marry a black woman if they felt that this is what black women were, and they didn't marry a black woman, okay? And I have no sour grapes with anybody, but we have to tell it like it is. And so now overnight, all of those videos that were derogatory toward black women were taken down. And now the brother wears a suit and tie and speaks about the black community in the upliftment of the black community. That's suspect. Hopefully it's true growth. But if you ask me, there was an offer made. Listen, speak this way, win people over, have them on your side. And when we need you to say something controversial to discredit somebody, the people will believe you. But where are those videos? And why the sudden shift? Is it because you see that it's more lucrative to speak about the black community in the news in the black community in Africa? I don't think so. I think you made a deal, buddy. Because while I would love to think of your success as organic, the change was too abrupt, and I believe you're being used. I believe something's going on under the table. And again, I have to say it because I've been around for a long, long time, a very long time. I know you know who I am. I've been there for a long time, and I know what you did, and I know how you moved. So we have to watch these people, and we have to ask ourselves, what is the motivation for what we do? Why are we doing what we do? And for those who are shapeshifters like this individual who, out of nowhere, fell down and knocked his head and became a conscious black man, never again to knock his sisters, which is a good thing. But what happened? Why did you change, right? Especially when that type of thing that you did, I'm not saying it, but it was very lucrative because there are many of us who love the decadence. We love to hear the hood rat fights and, yeah, look at her. She pulled the girl's bra off and the titty popped out and they're fighting over the same man and the man ain't working and they're working at Walmart and, he has babies all over, all that stuff, you see, is viewed by people also who don't look like us, right? And this is how they form their opinion of us. See, we might work at the same job, but many of us live on the other side of town other than those who don't look like us, right? And they don't say much. They act politically correct or in a politically correct manner. But when they go home and click on YouTube, look at how these niggers are acting. I heard or I see one on my job who acts the same way, shaking her head with the hand on the hip, cussing out the brothers and saying how no good they are. And one of the men who gave her a baby came up to the job and she cussed him out and fought and kicked them and they had to call the cops. These people ain't no good. And for those of us who put those things up and don't have a positive spin on it to teach, to say this is not the way it should be, they're not going to push the narrative of those who get down to the nitty-gritty truth and the proof. They don't want that. So they will hold your channel back, not let your videos go out there. They'll even shut you down every now and then if you say something the wrong way. But if I'm calling my women, my sisters, bitchs and hoes, they give you free reign to flow all over the internet. Because what's that word again we spoke about? Influencers. So if you can influence a certain segment of the population, and we're speaking now about black people, but the whole world over, of course. as you saw with the counterintelligence program. They just don't deal with black and white, but it's anything that is organized that can overthrow, and who may have a controversial speaker and leader who directs the people to do what it is best for them. See, we're supposed to be zombies. We have to understand that. We're supposed to be consumers of whatever is put out there, and we're supposed to be sheeple, and we're supposed to obey. And we're not supposed to question anything. We're not supposed to question something that is not good for us in our communities. We're supposed to take it the way that it's given. And so we have now another wing of things. It used to be the news. We had nothing else but the news, right? And how quickly we forget that many decades ago, we had no other option but to go on and look at the evening news, and they chose what it was that was going to be shown. Now, recently, I think it was Sunday, yesterday, or maybe Saturday night. I'm not going to try to speak any facts on it. And if I did have the facts on it, I'm not going to sit here and waste the time to speak about it. But we had shootings in California. I'm not sure if it was just in one location. I think it was two, but someone walked in to, what was it? Some kind of lunar moon celebration. I think it was in a club or some type of establishment, and opened fire and killed, I think, about 10 people, right? And this always slips through the cracks, because anywhere in America, there's always some gun violence, but they always try to pin it on the black man, right? And some of us do such things against each other out of frustration, lack of employment, lack of self-esteem, because the school systems didn't raise us up a certain way. Many of our families are broken. And so we don't have that source to undergird us to know we represent our ancestors, and we're supposed to be here to shine bright for our children and offspring. We don't have that sense lots of time. And so we do crazy things because we don't know, because we've been engineered into that state of mind. See? So most of the shootings that go on in America, especially the mass shootings, are done by angry, twisted white men. I'm not going to say they're mentally sick, because they don't allow us to use that. They know good and damn well what they're doing. And there are people outside in other countries, like here in Ghana, who think America is heaven on earth, that they need to go there, that they don't have the resources here. Yes, you do. You have to show unity and not let the colonizer come in and separate you and twist your mind up. Like I said, the mind is a very terrible thing to waste, but it's your most powerful weapon. And with social media influences, not only are they using social media to get us to give information about ourselves up, but they're allowing people to be influencers to target certain areas of the population and have us acting a fool. I mean, there's nobody here that's a dummy, right? But look at us now. We have black men that don't want to be with black women and demonize black women. We have black women that demonize black men and say that they're no good, to the delight of the colonizer, to the delight of the former slave master, who is still a slave master. But people don't like when I talk that way, because they want to make it seem as though we're in a post-racial society, that once Obama became president, who he really wasn't in our corner. He was an agent himself. He was one who was there to make it seem that way and continue what was going on from Bush. It's all one big club. Two wings on the same plane. A plane can't fly with one wing, right wing, left wing. But they're both in the body of the plane, flying over you, pushing their propaganda, and we take it like sheeple. We should have an uprising of the mind in our actions, because we really have the power. But this thing called social media was not given to us for us to have power. They gave it to us and left us alone. Like a gift given to a child at Christmas. You sit there, little baby, and play with your gift and become distracted as to what's going on. And so we had this thing called social media from the mid-2000s, a little bit before. We had Black Planet, that was a dinosaur coming from the 90s, and they copied that. But never do you see it now as influential as it was. Black Planet brought people together on a cultural level, on a deep mind thinking level, right? I was part of that before it was turned over to a booty call site, basically. It's severely reduced. It's nothing now. I had 352,000 subscribers on that before it shut down. And then eventually it turned into such a decadent site, something that was useless in our community. And I wonder where all those people went. But I killed the page that had that amount of followers. The pages are not even the way it used to be. It's just so low vibrational, but they couldn't have something the way it was before like that. There was too much truth and the government did not control it. So now they took a page from the book of Black Planet, right? And they turned it around. And so now they gave you these smartphones. But before you had cell phones, it couldn't access the internet. So you had a phone that you can call anybody, but you couldn't get the internet on it, if you can remember, for those who are old enough to remember, because many who are listening don't know what's going on because they didn't come up and see the progression of how things turned around and the timing of everything. So now you had a smartphone or a regular cell phone that you could only do calls on it. And then you had social media that you had to go home to check your emails. Remember that feeling? Oh, I got to get home and check my messages. But then when they married the cell phone with social media and texting and emails, it was a whole different mentality. We became so engrossed in the phone because we can send messages back and forth to each other. We can check our emails anywhere, and we can watch videos that came in on YouTube that was originated back from 2005. Look at the timing. Look at the timing. So now we can cut our cable. Now we can lay in the bed and watch movies. We can create videos. We had a voice, so we thought. We can talk and shoot out the messages to people all over the world. But they let us have it. And it wasn't as strict as it is now because we're in the age of not being able to speak. You see, we're in the age of censorship. But when they first gave it to us, they gave it to us and sat back and let us talk what was on our mind. And we didn't know. We were falling into the trap because now those of us who speak their mind and who are true influences are like tagged pigeons. They know who we are. They will watch you, they'll surveil you, but after a while they know what you're all about, so they'll move on to the next one. You see, the government and the powers that be, they're always looking over the horizon like warriors in war on top of the mountain. One of them stays up to look like a sentinel over to see if there's any threat coming over the other mountainsides while they allow the other ones to sleep and they take turns. So there's always someone in the powers that be and the U.S. government, the governments of the world who are watching over the horizon of social media to see who has a voice that's influential, to see who is selfless, to see who can't be bought, to see who they can change from speaking about hairy-hatted hoes and these breeding BITCHs, that they'll say, hey, we have something for you to do down the line on our side, but we're going to make you this iconic figure online and the people will love you. But they didn't know what you were doing before. And just like many of these pastors in our community who are real life influencers, you see, they were compromised. The people loved them, but they didn't know who they were in bed with. See, so everything that appears to be a certain way is not a certain way. But they'll come after somebody like me who, am I making $1 million? No, I can hardly run the platform now. It's making such a low amount of money. I got to put my own money in it. But I'm not complaining because I love doing what I'm doing. This is a joy for me because I was brought up in that revolutionary vein. It's okay. It's not a money grab for me. It's not a fame grab for me. I'm retired. I get up and I do a little something online and allow other people to come on. And even when I was working 2 jobs, working one job for 11 hours and the next one for 3 hours, I'd come home and do a live stream and speak on things and allow people to talk. But then when they see your trajectory, then when they see that there's no compromise, that you are long suffering, because I've always been a very disciplined person. And when a person is very disciplined, you cannot break them. They will send people to you to befriend you, to get next to you, to get in your inner circle, to get your information, to buddy up with you, to learn about your personal life. And then they disappear into thin air because these people are the information gatherers that later on down the line, if you were to become something bigger, they have all the information they want on you. But see, when you have the information gatherers around you, you have to gather information on them. You have to gather intel on them. See, this is a dirty, dirty, dirty world out here. So when somebody in boxing, in the sport of boxing, you have rules, the Marcus of Queenberry rules, and you're not supposed to punch a person below the belt. But when somebody punches you below the belt, you have to be able to come back and hit them below the belt. If they want to expose your finances or expose something about your personal life to the world, you have to be able to expose that money they didn't pay when they lived in the daggone whatever down in lower Florida. You know what I mean? Get all the information you can, whatever it may be. Oh, you was in bankruptcy here, or you lived in a trailer or whatever and couldn't pay your bills? Okay, boom, we got this. We got the hackers on you too. Let's go to war. Because there's nothing I've done that I want to hide. I can tell it. You know what I mean? But they use it as a threat. And so when they know that you move in a shrewd manner, that most people don't know, like I said earlier, we are all low-jacked. We are all GPS'd. We got the phones. They can find us anywhere, you see? And they know your movements. So it's not like if you put the phone down that they don't have record of your movements. Okay, you go to your job. You know where your job is from where you live. So let's draw a line down the route that you take to your job and you come back. Now, you may after work go to a certain store after whatever, but on the weekend you go to the market, you do this, you do that. You have a certain rhythm. So now you take your phone and trash it. They still know your rhythm. They still know who you talk to. Come on now. Back in the day, I've known people who have been into things that I would not do, but I grew up with them and they're friends of mine. And I know personally that the things that they were doing that were violating so-called federal law, they were tapping their phones and they knew this. And these friends of mine may call me every now and then for nothing that has anything to do with that type of endeavor. But I noticed my phones were tapped. And it was, you know, the noises that you heard back in the day when things were very much more crude. But now, you ain't hearing nothing. It's not like, oh, you hear that noise? They're tapping the phone. That's the way it used to sound years ago. My phone was tapped. The world knows that I used to throw adult parties. And there was someone who came to the parties that I threw several times. And I got a call one time from two detectives. They were both on the same line at the same time. And they wanted to know how I knew this person and what was my relationship with them. And this was a man that they were speaking about. When they say relationship, it had nothing to do with no homo business. It was just, what is this person's proximity to you? And they gave me a name. I did not know the name because the name they gave me as this person attended the events that I threw, it was a different name. So I kind of knew that that was a possibility. So I said, listen, I'm not trying to lie to you. I'm not trying to tell you a story, but I'll be very honest with you. This individual may have attended events that I threw and they used a different name. And I said, in your research of him, since he indulged in these things with other consenting adults, then you're going to have some intel that leads to you understanding that this is the kind of life that he lived and this is the kind of proximity that he had to me. So I did not know him like that. And they knew that what I was saying was right, and they left me alone. But this man was found murdered in his apartment. And so, of course, they have to go and cross every T and dot every I in their investigation. But just understand that people who may be near you and connected to you in social media, just as a random friend request, right, may lead you into being watched even more so because they watch everybody. And they have now electronic means of collecting data that they don't have to man it with a physical body anymore, but they can get a person to research what you put out there electronically that was captured. You understand? We have to start thinking this way. You might walk right into an investigation that you know nothing about, because you have a close proximity to this person on social media. So you have to be careful who you follow. You have to be careful who you speak to. Be careful of these people who want to be out there but don't want to be out there. They don't want to show their face. They don't want to share something about themselves, only to a certain point, because they know the reason why they were there. They know the reason why, as an information collector, they're there. Now, everybody who's involved in this, it's not where they know the full deal. You understand? It's almost like a drug dealer who has a good amount of weight and he wants to deliver it, but he gives it to a little 8-year-old boy, a bag of something, if you know what I mean, and says, walk this over across the street and knock on this apartment and hand this bag to the person. Meanwhile, you have people outside, law enforcement, waiting to see this man deliver the package, but it's a little boy with a big bag of candy that other person bought him, jolly, walking out with a bag. So he's probably bringing something home for his mama, and he gets the delivery done. So what I'm saying, you don't know who you're involved with when you're connected to these people. Even when they appear to be out there, you really don't know who they are. So me talking the way I do and not compromised, there have been many people who have tried to get me to cover stories that they don't want to come in on and speak on, but they want me to cover it so that I can get caught up in something. No, I'm not doing it. I've had some very shady individuals, and I'll say that. And many of you know them quite well. Lots of the people who used to be on this show are straight up agents and information gatherers and influencers to stop you from going forward with what they think may be a threat to the powers that be. And I know I'm not that important, but you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know, with the spirit that I have, what we'll speak about, what we'll do, what I'll move forward with. Who knows if we're going to be part of some kind of movement where I'm an influencer. I don't think that highly of myself. I'm just a servant. And I do this from the heart. But then when I realize that there's certain people who may be around me who are trying to break the platform down or to discredit me, go around and, say bad things about you, get in your inner circle, screw things up, turn people against you. The people that were around you. But see, the beauty of it is that it's a fresh turnover always of people. So what are you going to do? Go around to the several billion people on the earth and run to them and say, Lance is a bad guy, don't listen to his show, right? Or you want to reach out to them to get some kind of monetary advantage because of the things that you're in. Hijacking pages and putting logos and using my name so you can make the people feel as though you're connected to me. Oh, no. Information gatherers always don't know everything. Because, see, if you have local law enforcement come to you and say, listen, this is part of a big investigation and we need to get information on this person, and it scares them. And if they're getting a little monetary reward for that, but they don't know that what the police came to them with really came from the federal. You understand? And because I've had controversial people on the show, like Brother Cosmo, who killed those 3 cops, right? They want to now watch me. How is it that he was in contact with him? How is it that he knows high up members in the Nation of Islam or the 12 tribes of Israel or the Hebrew Israelites or the Rastafarians? I grew up in New York City, damn it. I knew people from all of those groups before I left my single-digit ages. All over the place. They say melting pot. Well, that's a melting pot. Black people have connections everywhere with every other, whether they know it or not. We've been exposed if you grew up in the bigger cities like New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, right? So what is that to say? I remember when I was going for the corrections position down in Florida, they gave me a list of different types of people. And they named those groups and they named their, listen, they were surprised that I checked off every single box. Have you known a midget? Yes. Have you known someone in the Nation of Islam? Yes. Have you known someone who went to prison for an extended amount of time? I can't lie. Yes. I'm from New York City. What do you expect? Do you know of any transvestite hermaphrodites? Probably did. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on between their legs. I'll check the box. So they were like, wait a second. Because, people that grew up in different parts of America, Back in the day, especially, they may not have known these different factions, right? And it's not a crime not to know it. But they watch you when you move in a wise manner. Now, I'll say these information gatherers, again, they may not know everything about an operation. They just know they're getting a little extra Walmart card or a little $250 in their money every month, not to make them rich, but to make things easier for them. And when they're told to watch out for a person or make multiple pages and profiles on social media so they can lurk up around you and ask other people who follow you things without you seeing them, they will block you. So it's a game of blocking and deception because you can make so many profiles. Let me tell you something. Let's get down to the nitty gritty now. I've had it where after moving out here to Accra, Ghana, touchdown September 16th, 2020, the powers that be know that shortly after, an individual who claimed to be so broke, working, but broke, pretty much didn't have anything extra, found themselves in Accra, in a 5-star hotel for a good amount of time, and was asking around to different people, asking if they know where I lived. Because we came out here first and got into an apartment. And it would be pretty hard to find that. So they're asking around, listen, you here? You've talked to me in my own chat room, but now you don't. And I'm not saying nothing. I'm watching how you're moving. But you're asking people out here, where do I live? And there are people who are agents of different types, because you know that the United States government doesn't want a connection between the United States or Black Americans or American Africans to make a connection with those here in the motherland. Memorandum 46. I got to keep on saying it. Memorandum 46, right? And you read that document and you'll understand why they don't want us to have the connection between here and Africa. Let me just see if I can pull it up. I actually copied and pasted and put it on my site. So if they ever took it down or scrubbed the internet of it, let me see now. Let's see. I'm going to just go ahead and find this bad boy. Okay. Not finding it. Oh, that's funny. Let me just go directly on my site and look for this thing. It's very important that I drop this thing on. But yeah, they were hanging out with someone else that I knew from America and had several shows with when no one else would give them a leg up on any exposure. Even connected with the person and went places in other states with them. I won't say anything more. So this person called me up one day and asked if we can do a videotape. Now their movements to me was a little iffy. And I said, okay, we'll do it, because I'm not that hungry. I can run my own show. It's not like, and I'm not talking arrogant, because I love all those who come on, but there'll be people who come on who have their own agenda, right? And want to control things after a while, not realizing that nobody's coming there for them. Nobody wants to hear that dumb, stupid talk they do, right? So anyway, I show up to meet the young lady, and you all know who it is. It's not somebody who's here all the time, but if I mention the name, you'd know. Someone else shows up with them, this individual. Look, why couldn't you tell me this person was going to be with you? What kind of foolishness is this? I wasn't scared of the person, but I knew what it was. And so I'm looking like, this is weird. So I went ahead and did the video and never saw the person again. Never heard from the person again. They used to come on the show and, all the time, and disappeared. And then they went and connected with somebody else that I was around a lot, who ended up being a fraud to the 50th power. You'll never see them on the show. And see, this is the thing. With me, when I find out someone is a fraud, I do not mess with them anymore. I don't promote them anymore. Yet and still, you have some people who are butthurt and hell-bent. Oh, what happened to so-and-so? Do you see them anymore? No. Then they were discovered to be a straight fraud. And I don't promote frauds. I have a lot of credibility online. Whether you like me or not, this is not the place for drama. I don't run a drama type of platform, right? Now I found the link for this thing here. Let me put this here. And in your leisure, you go and read that and you understand. That's the link to LANCESCURV.com, the Memorandum 46 document that was intercepted back in the late 70s that explained why Black Americans or American Blacks should not be, American Africans should not be in connection with those in the motherland. Specifically, they said some things and they can't pull it back. So we talk about Willie Lynch. This is the document we should be looking at, right? So that was a strange move. That individual does not contact me out here. And it's okay because I don't know what folks thought, that I was going to be used for their propaganda, because I will say many of these organizations that are out here in Ghana supporting people to come over, it's fraudulent. They're not doing anything. It's ego. Nobody's putting in any work. And nobody's going to benefit from my hard work for me to promote something fraudulent to rip the people off. I'm not doing it. And you have the secret handshake boys out here too. They're working along with these groups. You have people who talk about African spirituality, but they're involved in the occult. All that is going on out here because they don't want anybody to tell
Okay, let me know if you can hear me. You know, the very minute that I started to speak about the secret handshake boys and these groups here, all of a sudden, my internet was shut down. But I have a mobile pocket internet that I keep. And for those who know the show, you should already know the drill, that when you don't hear my voice and it cuts off abruptly, that either there was a power outage or some bullet was shot to my internet service. So it's going to happen again. So just have patience with what's going on, because I had to log in to my phone. So when you can't hear and you don't hear me, understand that something happened to stop me from saying what I have to say. And I'm prepared for that. So that's what happens. And look at the impeccable timing as to when that happened. You get shut down as soon as you start to say things, as soon as you begin to build a certain crescendo in your communication to make things happen. Let me know, can you hear me clearly enough? Because I know with this inexpensive phone here that I have, this Chinese made phone, which it wasn't supporting them, but at the time I had so much on my plate to pay for as far as bills, that when I bought this phone, it was because it was going to be a temporary throwaway. And I still feel that way about it. But right now, I have so many obligations that I'm going to have to utilize this after a while. So, where were we? Can everybody hear me clearly? I probably want to get my earphones in. And again, this is not going to be the longest show in the world. And now there seems to be some issues with the equipment. So I'm going to talk it because I was going to bring in some callers to speak and share and speak their mind. Right now, I'm kind of walking around the house looking for my earphone, my earpieces. So that being said, just give me a moment to get this thing right. So just give me 1 second to get these things in my ear and let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. All right. I have it connected. I'm looking for the feedback to see if you can hear me clearly right now. I need your feedback. Let me know. And of course, the phone is acting up somewhat, but that goes with the territory. So let's see. Hold on. Let me check this thing here. And of course, it's going to be working real slow. I can't even see the chat room like I did before. So I can't even see. I'm just going to assume that everything's clear. Okay, thank you, Kwame. Yes, so you got to understand this is a very powerful tool. It has gotten into our heads so much. I mean, we wake up in the morning, usually we're sleeping on the phone. We wake up and feel something hot under us, which is no good, or it fell to the floor, you know. Those of us who have some sense and can let it go can put it to the side on the nightstand. But that's just how it is. Okay, let me change these settings back again, because it's life of its own. That is mysterious to those who are monitoring you. They don't want you to ascend. They don't want you to get bigger. They don't want you to have any more influence because they're not the ones controlling you. When you have these powers that be who have so many compromised people under their wing, when you don't seek this out, then you're trouble for them. You have politicians, you have religious figures out here, you have very big influential businessmen out here who are influenced and compromised. Many of us who speak anything pro-Black, there are many of those who are compromised. They'll sell out for $1. They'll sell out for protection. They'll sell out for some type of advantage because they don't live this. This is not in their heart. This is not at their core. It's just another hustle to make ends meet, to have a better life, and to hell with the rest of the Black people all over the world. So when you do this,
It's almost a form of self-sacrifice. You're not looking for anything from the world. You're not looking for anything from the powers that be, because they're not going to reward you for what you're doing, especially when you're diametrically opposed to what they do to the people. And most, I will say, will go along with the program. As they say, most will go along to get along. And that's sad. We have so many Benedict Arnolds and Judases in our camps, and we don't realize it, right? And again, like I said, when you see people that are not on this channel anymore, they are certified, bona fide agents on some level or another, or they're just fraudulent and fake. See, I put a lot of time into what I do here over the years, and you have those who have no credibility at all, and they'll want to side up with you because if I say this person's a good person, not that I'm some guru or have any power, but you know how I get down over the years, right? And so these people kind of side up next to you. Not everybody, because there are people that I want to have on the show, like Master Glam, who we have here, who put down some serious truth, and many others who are here, Linda Petty, others who are here, right? I don't mean everybody. I'm not throwing off on anybody who's here in this room, but we have a lot of people who've taken their time, right? These are people who could be friends, who could be distant neighbors, or even family, can come in with a mission of winning the people over on your dime because you have credibility. And when they show out and when they show their true colors, not to the world, but to me or Mrs. SCURV, then we don't deal with them no more because they are frauds so different from the personas that they put out there. Or you'll have some who want to come around and get the connections that comes with the show. You know, they win the trust and then they go reach it out. Oh, reach out to me. Reach out to me. I want to talk to you. Reach out to me. You see what I mean? They couldn't get that kind of reach on their own. You see? So they have their plans when they come around you of what the ultimate prize is that they want. And it all starts with the credibility that I have over the years. Even out here, there have been people who sold property. Right now, they're doing it. And I had them on the show and kind of supported them, and come to find out they're ripping people off. You'll never see them on this platform again, right? And if they keep pushing it, any ones who have been here like that, I will call it out by name. And I'll let you know the inner workings of it, because I'm not going to have my credibility compromised that way. And that's just another way of discrediting you, making it seem like you're just another huckster out here, either looking for money or looking for attention. God knows I don't need any more attention than I've got in this lifetime. I know what lots of attention is, even for a person who was never super rich or never famous. I had more than my fill of attention and can fill up anybody's deficient attention cups 50 times over. You want attention? I got it for you. I just want to do what it is that I was put here in this world to do and transition peacefully, knowing that I had enough time to do. But the distractions, I don't need it. I'm not going to bother with it. It has nothing to do with me. So anybody from this point on will be scrutinized to the utmost. I got to know about you. And when you come on, hey, you don't have to show your face all the time, but initially you're going to show your face. I'm going to know about you. You know, look, when you go to the bank to get a loan, they don't say, oh, give them the loan. The bank president doesn't say that. Give them the loan because they're so nice. They're so friendly. I know they're a nice person. I know they'll pay the loan back. No, you got to do a background check. You got to see if that person skipped out on paying bills before. You got to see if that person is it worthy. My problem, I used to let people on in without the background check, without finding out who they really are. And I'm going to do that from now on. So that's going to scare off a lot of people who look to get to the core of the followers for their own selfish benefit, for their own informational agent benefit. It's a vicious, vicious thing. You just don't know the half of it. And you don't know who they send to you. And it's not a matter of being paranoid, but they don't want you to get to that next level because they see and they've learned this guy is not going to stop. We've sent people to destroy him. We've sent people to compromise him, but this guy just keeps on going. One day he's going to say something that is going to topple us over in some way. And I don't think that highly of myself, but this is for people overall. That we're influenced by people who don't give a damn about you. We're influenced by people who have their organizations and foundational this and indigenous that and all of this, whatever, to turn us against each other. What is that all about when you want to separate somebody now from each other instead of bringing unity? If it's not unity, it's not legit at all, because those who are leading these groups as charismatic leaders, they're paid off by the government to keep us separate. Anything out there as far as an organizational level, they pay them off to maintain people fighting on the internet. So the ideologies in their heads are against the other brothers and sisters that you have who look like you, right? Other people can be divided on their ideology, but they'll always come together and work for the greater good of the whole. But we are so separated, right? And Africans who are American, right? They have so much influence over the rest of the world because the stars and the athletes and performers and people who are about something, when you come from America, you just don't understand the respect that you get from your brothers and sisters who look up to you there and listen to you when you come from there. So if you come over here and you got something to say that's opposed to the propaganda about America being the best place on the planet, being the best place in the world to get you stuck over there like a fly on fly tape, you stay where you are. Stay out of America and the UK and places like that where you have the pink parasites. Stay away from those places. Yes, they may make it seem like it's better. Just like I was talking to a brother the other day, and I let him know that all that glitters is not gold. That's right, Tracy J. You got to do that security check. And the thing is, they may not be coming at you on some revolutionary level. They may know something about you through your private phone calls, to your girlfriends if you're a female, to your brothers if you're a guy. And they know the areas that you're vulnerable in. I'm not saying that anybody here is vulnerable in any particular way, but let's make an example. Say as a woman, you chose to say, I'm going to remain celibate. I'm going to work on myself and heal myself, but you happen to have a close proximity to something that's very, very influential. And the powers that be can look all up in your phone and see that you're studying something. Something is growing inside of you. You have an interest of something they don't want you to be connected to. Well, they may not come over to your place and beat you down and chop your head off. No, they may not do that. But they may know through your conversations what you might be open for or what your weakness might be in a man. And they will have the perfect man come to you who has all the money in the world to take you out on dates, who has that nice car in a fabricated way of employment where you say, this man is legit. And they'll give them 2 or 3 years to work on you. And maybe before that, the intimacies happen, but they're there to screw up your life. And it's also on a spiritual front also. Sometimes you're supposed to be alone and get into yourself and heal yourself and be away from the things of the world. And on a spiritual level, there'll be something sent to you on a carnal, physical level to make you weak, because the powers that be in the spiritual principalities know what it is. They know what key to push in the lock of you to know how to get in on you. And we all have those things. So we have to guard ourselves in those areas even more so and do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Because it's rough out here. If you need that battery operated boyfriend for a little while, so be it. It's not for me to say there's something wrong with that, but do what you got to do to not be vulnerable and open to these people out here and these things out here. Because if you ask me, the governments of the world, the powers that be they've already tapped into the spiritual realms already. They know how to manipulate these things. They studied us with our African spirituality, and they send people out to learn things, not to the shysters that don't know what the hell they're doing, that just want a little money for some hocus pocus talk, but the real people, and they pay them off. And this is something that I've learned with many of the medical doctors in Haiti, right? That the government has gone down there to learn what they know, because what they know down there is so close and direct to Mother Africa. Down in Brazil, they did the same thing, and they're out here now. You see these white people that you see are agents, trips that I've taken up to the mountains, where I know that there was other things going on a righteous spiritual level, and you see packs of them just following behind some of the brothers and sisters who know the arts, who know the spiritual magic that's our power. And they want to know that. And these powers that be know it already, and they use it against us. And most of the stuff that we follow behind is useless, because if we were really using the real thing, we wouldn't be in this particular position that we are in the world. They have even gotten us scared of the real thing, that we run away. Oh no, I don't want to be bothered with that. But that's the very thing that we need to run to. But they don't want us to know that. But they have their agents out here, and I see them. I did a video yesterday on the beach with Brother Ija Stars. And in the background, you see a white man talking to a sister back there. Now, I'm not going to say everything over here is pristine, because on that particular beach, there's a lot of pay for play going on. All right. And a lot of the sisters, unfortunately, and I hate to say it, and I'm not smearing where I love, but there is decadence here. There is poverty here in certain areas. And there are a whole lot of beautiful sisters out here that needs to make ends meet. So many will go on the beach, and this is how they make their money. I'm saying it between the lines. There's a lot of white men that we saw yesterday walking alongside the beach with young black men. It's sickening. I'm just telling it like it is. They want to use this place as their playground, and they want to use the leverage of what people are experiencing here, some who are experiencing poverty, for their pleasure, for their twisted pleasure. There's a young boy, a young kid, had to be about 12 years old. He was real tall, taller than me. It was weird. He was walking past me. He had eyeliner on his face. That's all he had, but he had these funny pants on, and he was walking right up next to this white man. What connection did this man have with this young boy? And when I looked in that young boy's eyes, I'm not necessarily going to say that he was part of some lifestyle. No, he wasn't. But he was doing those things for money. He was doing those things for money. You could see that. And he looked at me, and he had such a guilty look, because when he passed me by and I saw them approaching, I looked at this kid, not like I was angry with him or going to do something to him, but I looked in his eyes and saw down in his soul that he was guilty about what he was doing, but in his mind, he needed this money. And probably the next time I'm there, when I see that, I'm walking up to somebody with my camera. And I'm going to start talking to them in a very friendly way where they drop their guard, and I'm going to hit them with some questions. They're probably going to walk away from me. That needs to be exposed. See, they don't mind us being in that subservient position to do what they want us to do in a twisted fashion. But as soon as we carry ourselves with dignity, as soon as we carry ourselves in an upright manner and have some self-respect, they don't like that. They want to tear us down, and they hate us. They always want to devalue us and degrade us, and they take joy from that. So like when you look at these videos where we're fighting and cussing each other out, and the black men against the black women, and the black women against the black men, and all of us going in all these old twisted lifestyles, or rather death styles, where no true life comes out of it. You're putting your thing in the wrong orifice, and there's no life coming out of that. Now, if you're a man and a woman, you want to experiment that way, whatever y'all do, I ain't got no problem with. But that other stuff there, it ain't going to bring no life. And because Mother Africa has the fastest growing population on the planet, when you take the average of our ages, and you realize that, what did they say? That Ghana, the average age is late 20s, early 30s, what it was, young population. And younger individuals are having children. They don't want that. We're multiplying faster than they can destroy us. This is why whenever they talk about anything destructive, or anything as far as a disease is concerned or whatever, they're going to start talking about Africa. They talk about taking this jab, but ain't nobody talking about curing malaria that's killing people over here at such high rates. I had malaria, and it ain't no joke. I almost died, but that didn't stop me from coming back here. I know how to live and keep myself covered at certain times of the day and protect my skin, and I haven't had it since. Maybe I'll have it again. I don't know. But you know what? I risk the chance of catching malaria, and I can get an over-the-counter natural substance to kill it off, as opposed to walking down the street in America and getting shot in the back from some police officer or the racist cops that are out there. They're killing us off slowly, but surely all over the world. We got to understand that they're using social media to turn us against each other. They're using social media to mind screw us. I won't say the F-U-C-K word today, but they're using that we become enemies of each other and we turn in on each other, and they can sit back like the people who own sports teams, and they sit up way up in the skybox, what they call it, that's what they call it, watching their little nigga players play against each other and make all this money. And while they may give some big money and contracts to be the stars, they're the ones who are in charge. They're the ones who are lording over us, protected and far away, while they profit from our destruction or profit from what we do so well. They have to have their hand in everything. And even when I spoke next to Brother Star's The Mindset, but in front of us and behind the various cameras that were there, white people had stopped and they wanted to hear what it was that we were saying. 2 or 3 Chinamen had stopped. They stopped. They stopped. All the cameras that are there on the beach, and they kind of heard the tone of what Brother Stars was saying and what I was saying, and they stopped. Oh, we got to watch this one. Who is this person? And they got cameras on them too, and they're on the beach out here. We can't have the revolutionary spirit out here. We can't do that. And they can cut my internet. They can take me off of social media all they want to. I'll walk the damn streets of Accra. I'll walk wherever I am out here, and I'll talk the talk the same way I do. They know I'll do it. And if they want to do that, these are their platforms. They can do it. But there'll be sound bites and other people who download stuff, and it'll keep on going out there. I don't care. I can take a bullhorn and go up in the mountains, and we'll do our work. And it'll go up on other people's channels. So you're going to have to look at everybody's channel, everybody's YouTube or whatever, Facebook or whatever have you, to stop. It's already out there. There are many of us out here who are doing the right thing. And, you know, we try to get entertaining sometime. I'm going to have a segment of the show where we talk adult stuff and crazy stuff I did in the past. But that's the dessert. Not that you want to consume that, but I'll put it forth in a way where you see what not to do if you're in your adolescence coming up and you want to try certain things. Things can be deadly right now. I'm blessed to be alive. I'm blessed to have a clean bloodstream from all the conundrums that I was involved in my younger years with women and all of that whole world. We don't have to go there, but you know what it is, right? But everything is being weaponized against us. And now Black people are being weaponized against each other because of these social media influencers who happen to be very charismatic, and you see them every day. Every time they upload a video, you may watch it and you watch other things. And I know that everybody here is very, very intelligent and can read between the lines. I've bared my life to show you how I live. I'm not going to show you everything about or private situations. Now we have somebody calling me, and I hope you still can hear me. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, there's that number again. We're going to decline it because when they call it, they don't say anything. So they cut the show by cutting off the other internet. I'm still talking, and now the same number, and I'm going to go deep and investigate this number. I'm going to really, I'm going to tell you publicly what I'm going to do. This number is a local number, has been calling me for the last month. They don't say anything, but you hear these noises, right? Now, I don't know how things work over here in Accra, Ghana, but when I'm up today, if this is their personal number, they ain't going to get no damn sleep. I'm going to ring it every 2 minutes until I find out who this is ringing me all day long for no reason. And things are timed a certain way. You see how my other internet knocked out when I started speaking about certain things. So I got back onto my phone. What you going to do? What you going to do? Because I'm not going to stop doing what I do. As long as I'm alive, I'm not going to stop doing that in a very creative way. Not just some old, angry, bitter man or whatever. No, there's so many avenues and different things that I want to use to share my experiences, not because I'm better than anybody or know anything, but whatever I have to bring to the pot, I'm going to bring it. This is what I suggest everybody to do. Whatever you have to share, bring it to the pot, and let's all eat good. Hey, you may not have steak, and I'm not into eating steak, but I'll just use this as an example. I got a couple pieces of steak. You got potatoes. Next person has a yard full of vegetables. This person has a big bag of rice. This other person has all the sugar, which we shouldn't be consuming too much sugar, right? You bring the lemonade, you make the vegetable thing there, make the potatoes. Hey, let's all come together and make a meal. And it's going to be where we're going to have to do this, because if you understand what, like Sister Oyala said in the show that we did, and I still have to upload the segment that we did the other night. 2025 in Brazil, there's another pandemic coming, and they already have the vaccine for it. It's proven already. There are links that I've seen from very reputable platforms that speak on this, and they're putting it out there. So you really think people are stupid? So this means this thing is engineered, and it's going to paralyze the babies and the young children and leave them with brain issues. So they're going to be locking down. So if you're going to travel, or you're going to go anywhere, or you want to move somewhere permanently, like coming to the motherland, get your ducks in a row, because who knows how long they're going to lock down the planet. And this one is going to be even worse. This is not even doomsaying. How could they announce something like that? Like it's something that happened by chance. And they're going to use social media to brainwash people into accepting this and not understanding that, hey, they're playing us. They're playing us like pieces on a chessboard. And we're just going for it. We're not questioning anything because it's too sweet to hold a phone in our hand and watch a beautiful black woman shake her backside while you get your jollies off. So you ain't paying nothing no mind. That's worthwhile to our survival. They're telling you they're coming with another one. And have we forgotten how it was before? Being stuck at home or having to take a jab to hold a job, or what are you going to do? Set yourself up. Take the next few years, which this is 2023, January. So assume that January of 2025, don't say, oh, it might be December or whatever. No, do what you have to do from now. Enjoy your food, have a way of eating year round. Know that you're going to have to make money in the system unless you come out of the system where you can depend on money even less than you do now. That's the main thing. That's how they're going to get you. Your dependence on the money that you need to make money to survive. And even if you do have the money, what happens when the food is just not there? Money's not going to do anything for you. So your focus is being able to eat and protect yourself from the powers that be that literally want to kick your door in and to find out if you've been vaccinated. But that's not really what it's all about. It's about control, see, and just breaking you up. And just like they had concentration camps back in with the whole Jew thing, right? Hey, they're going to do the same thing when it comes time to quarantine you. It's coming. So all these people who say, let's even forget about the potential for war. We're going to get hit with so many different things. It's been being pushed to the edge, like putting up dominoes on a windy day. It's just a matter of time when you line those dominoes up and you push the one on the end and they all fall down. But it's a slow burn because they have this thing where they want to control us. Look at that. They're ruling out gas-powered vehicles. By a certain time, so many years, we won't be able to purchase them because they want us to have electric vehicles that they can control remotely and shut it down. It's all about control for them, but they'll make it seem like it's a convenience for us. And again, they're using social media to pepper our brains to be ready to accept this foolishness. And it's not right. Anyway, I didn't look at, you see, I'm not able to take calls right now on the show because I'm working through my phone. I have so much to talk about now. Listen, brother, and the show's going to go on now, whether the thing comes on or not. But what time will it be now? It'll be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Brother Metamorphosis is going to come on. Now, if you know him or not from the past shows we've done, we haven't done many shows. I think it was maybe like 2 or 3 of them. He has some information he's bringing, and when you got to listen to what he was saying. We talked last night for about an hour and a half, and I couldn't let go on the phone. I was falling asleep, not because of him, but I was already so tired from being at the beach all day and moving about. But at 8 o'clock Eastern, I'm sorry, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, because it's going to be 8 o'clock for me. So lots of times I forget it. We're going to have him on, and I'm going to try to encourage him to stay on as long as he can. And I will have, if I straighten this situation out, I will have everything working, but I'll have the phone ready right there in the show. So just in case if I fall off and you don't hear me, that we'll come back on. But it won't cut him off because the program we use is in the cloud. So if I happen to cut off, he will be there. So we'll have that issue rectified at that time, whether yay or nay. And then at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we have Positively Angela. In the world that we live in today, we need the word that she shares because we have to keep control of our mind. If anybody wants to say that I'm a fraud or whatever, or they want to, let them say it. But you can't beat that. That's whether I'm a fraud or people call me an agent. Well, investigate me. Look into my past. I bear all. If you want to call me privately and me provide something to you, I'll do it. I'll tear out my backside and show you every hair that's there, which too much information. I ain't into the hair thing. But anyway, that's how I roll. That's how I roll. And I feel so good doing it. And like I said, I know one of my purposes, and this is one of them. I know I'm built for this. And so it's a joy. It brings peace to my heart because there's certain things that I'm shown. And again, I'm not studied in any one area where I can bring you the facts and the history. No, that's not my job. My job is to get the butts in the seats and get other people who are knowledgeable there. Don King never went into the boxing ring and threw a punch, but he was a boxing promoter. And he got the butts in the seats. And now let's watch some fights. So let's get some information. So I'm here to undergird all of the righteous people who have something to say as a plate for food, but as a platform for those who have those revolutionary voices that can bring change in your life. So that's what it is for me. And that's why I can speak the way I do. I'm not out here begging for this or asking for this or hitting on this one or whatever. I get up with the purpose of saying, hey, how can I fulfill my job every day? And maybe once every 2 or 3 months, I may be a little tired and have to rest. But consistently, it's about the work that you do and put out. And again, when anybody wants to know, if you do not see certain personalities and entities on this show, it's because they've been found out to be a fraud and you don't want to do business with them. You don't want to deal. You can say hi and remember this, remember that, whatever you want, but they're whisperers out here, right? They're whispering spirits who can't come out and say. If they're not a whispering spirit, come on the show and let's talk about it. But you got to whisper and move in the shadows. You understand? And it's a shame because these people have no life. They wake up and want to watch people on Clubhouse. They wake up and want to watch people on YouTube. And oh, this person over here said this about you and this, but they want to remain and have this sweet demeanor. You're fooled. No, it's warrior time. And I'm ready to tell all and ready to be all and do what it is I have to do. And I don't care if it's 2 people listening. I'm going to do what it is that I have to do. I'm sorry about that. I was built for this, and this is momentum here. And this is a time that if you know anything that can help somebody, open your mouth and come out and say the good stuff instead of worrying about, don't go by him and don't listen to him. And this is what happened. Oh, shut up with your bad body self. There's too many people out here who want to be covert influencers, behind the scenes influencers, but tell them to come out in front of the people, show your face and talk some truth. Sometimes I don't want to show my face. You know what my face looks like. I was on the beach yesterday. You saw me there. Sometimes I just want to just relax and focus on the word. I'm not out here trying to get more popular. Oh, they got to see my face all the time. Y'all know what I look like. I might do shows for half a month where you don't see my face, but you see it when I go up on the rooftop. I might go up there in a little while and go talk a little bit about some things I need to talk about. That's what I do. So I'm not caught up in the vanity. I'm not caught up in that production end of things. I know how to make things look good and set things up. Of course, somebody serve you food, they ain't gonna just slop it all over the plate, vegetables all over the place, piece of chicken all over the place, right? Rice all over the place. You arrange it nice to make it palatable, and make it where you want to enjoy this meal, right? But other than that, I want to get down. I want to get scrappy. I want to get down to the nitty gritty. I want to knock you out in the first round with truth. Care about that stuff. That's nice, and I do it, but that's not my first and foremost thing. I do try to keep up on the technology because I know there are many of us who are blinded and only go for the glossy stuff, only go for the pretty stuff. So we as a people have to cater to that end of thing. Oh man, them graphics are dope, man, so and so. We need that to pull in certain people. But if I just click the button or click the phone and just came on and talked, I am the same person. It is what it is. But we have to really vet people around us and don't go on what you see in the surface, because their plan could be to get up next to you over years. This is on big levels and this is on little levels. And don't think that the enemy doesn't have people out there who are trying to win you over. And some kind of ideology. And on the spiritual level, they will know who you are to be 10, 15, 20 years from now. Be careful who you let around your children. Not just on a molestation level, you got to watch for that also. But those who are trying to implant a certain way of thinking that can grow over time to 20 years from now, either rendering them ineffective or having them to champion a cause that's not something that's righteous. They want us all under control, number one. We are a threat. They don't like the freedoms that we have, and we give it away for the trinkets and baubles and rubies. You want to get given a shot, and they want to give you something for it. Oh, we'll pay you so much. Come and take this shot. And it renders you impotent. It renders you where you can't have children. Yeah, you have children. You got to take care of them. But I say, come out to a place like the motherland and set yourself up financially, and you have as many children as you possibly can. As long as you can take care of them and put the wisdom in them and the discipline, because it's not going to be good just having children that are just so wayward that they fall victim to something carnal and end up in the system as an inmate. Because see, this is why they don't want us in America to discipline our children. They don't want disciplined children because they want undisciplined adults that can feed into this system where they can make money off of you. Cheap labor, incarceration, taking care of your kids. You see, they want you as a black man out of the family, and they don't mind paying with these different social programs to pay out for the food and pay out for the rent. And if you have to use it, if you need it, fine, but have a head on your shoulders where you understand that they want you dependent on this. They want to break you up from your man, your family. Also, choose wisely. Choose wisely, sisters. Choose wisely. Yeah, we may have made misjudgments in the past, but even in the present, who you deal with. And the biggest thing that they're using now is sex. Sex is powerful. The gift of sex is a very good thing, but it's very powerful. It can change your life around. It can put you in poverty. It can put you in a good place if used properly in your relationship with your mate. But it can be turned around to benefit the very people who hate you. You end up in an abortion clinic. What do you think they do with what's left of that body? They use it for their own twisted purposes. So they don't mind you screwing up and down. Sure, come on over and we'll give you the abortion. Abortion clinics, places where you give blood and they pay you. Why they want our blood? There are more blood places there to extract our blood and our DNA in black neighborhoods. And it looks so sinister if you look at some of these buildings. They don't hardly have any windows and cameras around. And what kind of mess is this? Right up under our nose, but they make it evil seem fair seeming. You see what I mean? It's crazy. And we fall victim right into it like it's something so cool, you know? So yeah, it is what it is. And you see so much, and as you see it, talk about it. I wish I can just open up the lines right now, but I can't because I'm on the phone. But I'm going to wrap this down. I think I've been on for about maybe an hour and a half. I don't time anything, but we're coming right back. We're coming right back at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Brother Metamorphosis, and he can go way deeper than I can. He has studied, he's well-versed, he's a mature, older man, and he tells it like it is. And the conversation we had, I should have just told him ahead of time, I need to record this, because I don't record people against their will or without their knowledge. If they're threatening me or they're bringing something to me that's wayward, I need to document it. I'm gonna record your ass, okay? I'm just saying that from now, okay? But in a private conversation, that's something I don't do, because God knows I have all the equipment to do so in so many different ways, but that is something I don't do. But if it's somebody suspect that I think is an agent somehow, you're gonna get recorded from this point on, and you need to be vetted if you want to come down here with me. So that being said, just want to say that I love you, and this has been enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to tonight when we can vibe, and it's going to be a wonderful thing. And I'm going to sign off. I was going to try to play some music, but I don't know. These controls get stuck sometime, and it is what it is. Much love, y'all. Take care. 3 o'clock, back on the show. We'll be back.
Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. All that I crave when you're away, nights are sleepless. Do we need space? Yeah, maybe a break. Boy, you're my weakness. Give and we take, the love that we make, it's my favorite drug. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. You got me feeling some type of way. You make me wanna stay in all day. You're the reason I can't get out my head. I just can't stop thinking about you. I just can't stop thinking about you.